Okay, so sit, down and stand. This is obviously the first thing that we tend to teach our dog is sit. So we want to get in there first before you develop any sort of bad habits. And if you do it right and you do it this way, then you'll also be able to get the sit, the down, or the stand whenever you're struggling with your dog's behaviour in general. So this is all about luring, and this is the fundamentals of dog training. So everything we teach our dog, we ideally want to get the behaviour first and then put the word onto it. So we're teaching them what English actually is. So for sit, for instance, what we do is get their attention. That's number one, attention of the dog first. So she's interested, she wants to know what I've got in my hand. That's lovely, she's motivated, right? Because she's already in the sit, what I'm going to do is just bring her out of the sit. That's it. And then to bring her back into it, I'm going to lift that above her head slightly so her bum touches the floor. But what I'm looking at is this. And as soon as her bum touches the floor, she gets a release of a treat. Lovely. So I'll show you again. So I'm looking here and I want to see that bum touch the floor. Lovely. Well done. And then she gets the treat released from my hand. Okay. Make sure that you're the one that decides when the treat comes out. So I'm holding my treat like I've shown you. So in between my fingers and thumb, like this. And then when I release the treat, I simply just let it go and it becomes a little plate. So show you again. Treat on nose, looking here. Yes, well done. So you can start marking it with the little yes word. Every time her bum touches the floor, I'm going to say the word yes for a little while. Okay, so repeat, repeat, repeat. Yes, good girl. And she gets the treat. And again. Yes, good girl. Well done. Okay. Once she does it reliably, or once your dog does it reliably for you, then we will put the word in there. And the word is sit, and we say the word just before we move. So it looks a little bit like sit. Yes, good girl. Well done. This way, we're teaching our dog to follow the word when we say it once, because dogs do count, believe it or not. The worst case scenario we've had is a dog has learnt to count 8 sits before it sits every time. Could you imagine how frustrating that is? So to avoid that from happening, what we do is sit. Yes, good girl, well done. And she gets the reward every time you say the word. So if at the minute my training circle is lovely and small, and we'll have a look at down before we make that bigger. So keeping attention nice and small. If you can, get onto the floor with your dog. If you can't, maybe pop them up onto a sofa for you so you can work with them by your side. Either way, as long as you're keeping that training circle nice and small. It's really good that she's interested in what my hand is up to. She's motivated. I'm going to get rid of that. So that's really, really good. And then if I want to get down, sometimes we can get down from a sit a little bit easier. And what I'm going to do is bring that treat down towards her chin and then just hold it on the floor. You might have to bring it out a tiny little bit just to help your dog come out a little bit. When she's down there, she gets that yes, followed by the treat itself. Okay, so I'll show you again. So when she's in the sit, I'll bring that treat down towards her chin, and I'm looking here. I want to see those elbows touch the floor. When those elbows touch the floor, that's when she gets her treat and a yes. So again, I'm looking at these elbows. I want to see these elbows come out, and I'll go, yes, well done, good girl, well done, good girl. If we want to prolong that down, you can do, just by intermittent little rewards here. If you pop the treat in between their paws on the floor here, then it gives you a couple of seconds to move away, get another treat, and then, yes, good girl, well done. You can pop another one in between their paws. And that keeps that behaviour going for a little bit longer for you. So you end up with basically hand feeding in this situation, but that's fine. Absolutely fine. And then it's about kind of extending this period between giving treats, but not too far that your dog gets up and moves. If your puppy gets up and moves, it's because you waited too long to reward them and we asked for a little bit too much all in one go. So take it back a step, go back to getting them into that down. Another point to mention here is if you have to correct your dog, if you're putting them back into that position, then they shouldn't get a reward for that. So if Roxy moved, for instance, and I have to put her back, then I'll put her back. I won't give out that reward. Now I will give it to her, right? Excellent, well done. Okay, so there is another way that we can do down, and it makes it a little bit more fun for our dogs too. So if we sit on the floor, we're going to play a game of limbo. I'm going to take the attention of the treat underneath my leg here, and I'm not putting any pressure on her at all. Her job is just literally to limbo underneath, and when she's there, pop the treat on the floor, and that's how she's in the down there. Lovely, well done. So I'll show you again. There we go. We'll go from this angle. So again, no pressure. Just literally underneath, and as soon as she's in that down, move my legs out of the way. She's like, give me the treat. There we are, and pop the treat on the floor. That really helps out with the down, okay? If you're struggling, if you're really struggling to get the down, you can also just pop a little treat in between their paws when they lie down naturally, or you can shape their behaviour. And by that I mean, if you're struggling, and the bum comes up and it's just like crazy, whatever's going on here. So I'm going to reward her for the sit, and then to get the down in a shaping kind of way, I'm going to reward her for her head coming down. Lovely, she gets a little reward for that. And again, lovely, she gets a little reward for that. And again, lovely, she gets a little reward. So you're rewarding for little stages within the behaviour that you're looking for, aiming to get to the end result of a down, but still able to reward frequently for those little movements. That's how we get our dogs to do very specific behaviours. So most of it is all about luring. And at the minute, yes, they follow the treat, but that's good. We want them to follow the treat. Foodie is a very trainable dog. So if I want to get stand is basically all four paws. She's doing it for me. I'm amazed. We haven't actually taught her this. So stand is actually all four paws staying completely still. So you'll see all four paws staying still, and she's nuzzling into my hand. I'm the one that decides when she gets the treat, however. So to get stand, because they often want to go into sit because that's what we've taught them to do. So say she's there, what I'm going to do is bring that treat forward, and I'm going to try and keep it nice and parallel. So do you see this line across here? I'm going to try and keep it nice and parallel. If I bring it down too low, oh, she goes down. If I bring it up too high, then she might, there we go, she might sit, she might jump up for it, she might try and snap at it, whatever I'm doing, it's just like, ah, how do we get that stand? And this is really important to teach our dogs, because when you go to the vets or the groomers, they're gonna need to do this. So she's nuzzling in here, she's getting little tidbits every now and again, and all she's doing is keeping all four paws completely still for me. So when she's in this stand position, we want to get our dogs, especially our puppies, used to us feeling over them, playing with their collar and doing everything that we need to do. So while they're there, have a good feel of their ears, like that, have a good look inside, double check they're healthy, they shouldn't be too pink, and then feel around their collar, mess around with their collar a little bit. All the while, they're interested in the treat that you've got in your hand, right? If they're not interested in the treat, and they're interested in what you're doing, it's because maybe you've gone a little bit too far. So take it back a step, maybe be a little bit gentler, and get them used to you investigating them. So have a look at the bum, lift the tail up, have a look at their paws, lift that up. See how she's interested in the paws? So if I get her back onto the treat here, that's it, good girl, well done. So she's got very sensitive paws, and she's got tickly feet. So we would spend a minute on that. We'll get her back onto the treat, and then I'm going to try and pick up her paw again. Yes, good girl, well done. She gets a little treat. And again. Yes, good girl, well done. See, now I can investigate her paw, no problems whatsoever. There we go. So, stand is really, really, really important. I have actually used stand about 3 times in the last week. Because we're redoing the garden, and there's brambles all over the place, and they're cut brambles, so they're on the floor. she walks around and then she gets them caught up in her fur, and then she gets herself into a bit of a right state. So if I say stay and stand, she will literally just stand still and wait for me to come and rescue her. So she'll stand completely still. I think she's probably following more of the stay, but it helps that we practice this every now and again. If I was to say the word stand, it would literally be as my hand comes out. So I would go stand. Yes, well done, good girl, well done. And then these, she's picking it up. So practice is working. It's working, isn't it, Roxy? Yes. Okay, so let's go over those again. So we've got our sit, lifting the treat up. Lovely. And our down, going down to the floor. Lovely. Watch down and off. That's usually one that everybody gets wrong. And off is off the kids, off the granny, off the furniture. Down is lie down, because if your dog jumps up onto your sofa and then you say down, get down, then they lie down, they've actually done what you've told them to. And quite often, if we're saying the word down in that instance, as well as this one, we're spoiling our down. So you'll end up with a dog that won't go into the down. And it's really important to have a dog that does go into the down, because when you want to get them to chill out, so when you're preparing them for going to tea rooms, calves, be in the car, welcome guests into your home, you don't want them being a pest all the time. So it's actually really good if we do encourage our dogs to take this opportunity to lie down and to understand that this is what is expected of them. So definitely worth practicing, and we usually neglect this one a little bit because we spend all our time working on sit. So sit, they do pick up quite naturally as well, because they will sit and wait for a treat, and the treat is usually up here somewhere. But down, the treat has to be nearer the floor, so do spend the time getting your dog used to this down position, and the more time you spend getting your dog used to that word, the specific word that you're teaching them, so sit, good cow, and then down, the easier it will be when you start increasing distance, and I'll show you what that looks like as well. Stand, good girl, well done. So when you get to a point of increasing your distance, you've got your training circle. Here a little bit, Roxy. Your training circle has automatically gotten bigger. Yes, we're not right in our dog's face, so we've changed a couple of things. Let's go back to the basic level. So I'm going to waft this treat on her nose to get her attention. That's it, lovely. And then to get the sit, all I did was just bring it up, so I'll show you again. Bring it up nice and tall, so you can stand nice and tall and give out the treat. Yes, well done, good girl. And then again. Roxy. Sit. Good job, well done. So we're increasing distance between her and ourselves. So to get the down, there's a long way. There's a lot of distance that we've got to increase. So we'll pop the treat on the nose, we'll take it all the way down to the floor, pop the treat on the floor, stand up nice and tall. That's where you're getting your distance in there. When she looks up, yes, good girl, well done. If your dog moves before that point, just drop another one down. And while they're still in that down, just drop another one down. Hand feed for a little bit, and drop another one down. And then when they look at you, or look around, then they get another one. As if to say, yeah, well done, you're going to get a reward for just being there, chilling out. I like that, do it again sometime. Okay, so to get a stand then, so stand, good job, well done. And now I can increase that distance. As soon as her bum touches the floor, I'm going to correct that, but she's not going to get the treat just yet.